This is another special announcement from yours truly, Christopher Columbus Lanham III, aka Sir Kalam. I just wanted to say that the next president has to legalize weed, not be so pushy like some of our uh, other brothers, maybe sisters that are running from this country. I'm saying their own countrymen, people that are born here. So put into brotherly, sisterly aspect in that sense should be definitely willing to legalize that and give us that right back to legalize marijuana, give us the right to smoke. Um, Provisions. I don't know about the um, treating it like alcohol thing, but that might be a good possibility. Um, I wanted to say that I was really upset with Jeb Bush, and I was upset with Marco Rubio too. Jeb, I was upset with him for giving Hillary Clinton a Liberty Award because I don't think that she deserves that. In my opinion, I don't see anything on her record that really qualifies her for getting anything except jail time, especially for that Benghazi thing, and they just want to blow it off like it's nothing big. Wait and see some big shot get their ass um, pinned by a mob or a crowd sometime, and nobody comes to help them or some crap like that. But anyhow, I like what I like what Jeb is saying right now, and I'm gonna direct a message to Jeb Bush right now because he's running. He's one of the top people. I think he should legalize it, and I think that if people ask him, "Well, why are you doing that?" I think that he should just jump right into the dock and say, "It's because this country will make so much money off of legalizing marijuana. It'll be phenomenally out of control. It'll be so right on course to paying all of our debts off. How more unreasonable could you be to not want to do that in sole purpose, if that's the only reason, is to bounce this country? People want it, so you have to do what people subscribe. So I'm not necessarily, my opinion is that that you can go have legal representation at times, and you don't necessarily have to. But over border lines, I'm not sure exactly how you couldn't plan ahead and have things set for, like, if you go on vacation. And talk about being gay, the gay issue, because I'm not necessarily for them uh, having marriage, but I never really gave it that much of a concern. I was never really concerned that much about it. I just not don't agree with it, you know. But I've had gay friends and whatnot, or known gay people, so uh, not to really like uh, shoot them, you know, over it or something like that. I mean, not literally. I'm saying give them a hard time because they're gay or anything like that. I just say what I say about that in particular is it depends on the state and the way people vote. The vote has gotten way out of control. So definitely an important thing to do would be to getting more of the control back to people in particular when they vote. Um, just hope that they don't vote bad for themselves. And speaking of shooting, don't keep shooting themselves in the foot. Because my opinion, is only obviously the truth on the economy and the state of the affairs here, is that the administration has not been for in our favor for our country necessarily. They're for a world plan, a world scheme, for a world money or something like that. So it all goes into why they're making us broke or whatnot. But people shouldn't be concerned with other things. They should be concerned with America and American things if they're a politician. So I really resent the fact of how this nation has been going. You can't even say a word. The media is so uh, one-sided. You know, they'll come up with saying the right thing every once in a while, but they are always back to covering for things that are not transparent at all. When they said it was going to be completely transparent, but um, we've got so many things going on that are bad and wrong for us that's like running an obstacle course to even keep up with any of them. So I'm just saying we need a strong leader who can do the right thing. And besides, if they approve that or not, you know, a Republican is definitely who I'm reaching out for. I'm going to tell you, I haven't ever voted for a Democrat. Like I said before, I wish that everybody um, would vote, would go and register as a Republican. And the reason why I said that, been saying that for years, is because I wanted to see the majority of America who we vote for out of the primary. I like Newt Gingrich a lot. I think that he's um, not as wishy-washy as maybe some would lead you to believe on his green energy proposals and plans. He takes real initiative. I really like the way he sounds. You know, so if you're serious about the environment, that sounded like a really good idea. So I'm kind of still shocked that he didn't get the nomination. But if you become the president, you can't just be one-sided. Also, what I believe that all we've been getting is the same crap thrown down our throat, whether we like it or not. And they don't side with nobody. They're not, you know. And that's what I told Marco Rubio. So that could be part of my problem or my fault for encouraging other Republican people to side with these villains, these Democrats, instead of sticking, you know, strict to, you know, abortion or stuff that we firmly believe is wrong, and uh, stuff like that. And the reason why I had a problem with Marco Rubio, I'll just say before I go real quick, was because I worked for the guy on a voluntary basis. Him and another candidate, his name is Mike Yost. Mike Yost didn't win the candidacy because he was running for something more. Um, he was not more. It was something different. He was running for Congress. So anyhow, um, Marco Rubio had me volunteering for him. So of course I liked him at some point. That's why I'm pointing that out. Not just that I've done some volunteer stuff for the guy and would never, you know, make it an issue, you know, except sometimes you have to stick to your guns and just be true to who you are and, you know, what you've done, and just point out why you don't think any of it was a mistake, up to the point where he came down here, and I believe it might have been at the town hall, but he mocked his constituents here, which I'd be a constituent, and it was on Obama's birth certificate, because we believe that you could get him impeached or pulled out and kicked out for not really being born in America and for forging his birth certificate. So I don't know exactly on how to do that, and he laughed and mocked at the people for doing that about the sheriff of Ohio. investigation on the birth certificate. He took it off as a real big joke and laughed at everybody, and then went from there to trying to work out a deal, I believe, with the Democrats on immigration. See, and it's immigration. It's not, you don't want people to come here and be here illegally, because it's not right. It breaks a right against all living Americans who are born here. If we broke into their country, we'd be breaking the law against the people of Mexico or anywhere else. If we didn't go there legally, visit or whatever, however we got there. So I'm just saying they're also screwing over all the people who came here legitimately too. And those people come from everywhere in the world, and that's what makes America. America doesn't make it one certain people, you know. America is all people. It's a mixture of everybody. So I don't know where people exactly have been getting off with this, government ploy, scheme, lie, bullcrap that they shove down your throat whenever you know that they're lying. All these people, they get enough stupid people to vote them in and make it go. So you get screwed one way or another, whether you like it or not. And I told you so, and I told everybody, don't do it, with everybody else who said don't vote for the liberals. And then they went and did it and want to make excuses, and then act like you're an idiot whenever you say something about it. So, like, it doesn't sound like something all too familiar. But anyhow, the dude didn't legalize weed. He can't legalize weed. Um, and he wasted his time and everybody else's time for a greedy purpose. It was a Bill Clinton like type of scheme that Obama put in there. I'm telling you the absolute truth. The healthcare thing was a big sham. That's all it is. It's just another way for them to tax us more money, because they had to come up with another way. And I don't know how these people think that they keep spending our money and wasting it the way that they do, and it's endless. And then Pelosi, when she was the top Congress person there, she wanted an endless ceiling that they could have to add to our debt, just an endless amount. It's atrocious. So I have no idea what people think, how they think that they're, some kind of freaking scholar when they don't even know what they're talking about. Inflation keeps going up. They keep giving themselves a raise, pay raises, and everybody else stays the same. And then they go out and they're like, yeah. They're like, we need to raise the minimum wage, because we made inflation so damn high that now we have to go and fight for all these people we screwed over. We're going to tax you whenever you earn income on two levels, state and federal level. Then, whenever you go to buy something, not necessarily here with food, you can go and buy food here in Florida. Pretty sure it's all Florida, and not have to pay the tax on food in particular. I don't know if you're paying a federal tax on everything. You probably are. But up to this point, all I'm saying is they've figured out a way how to calculate more and more and more and more taxes. So I don't know exactly where it all ends, how it's going to end up like that at the end, where they completely control the economy, because they have taxed everything to a point where I don't know if we'll be like dogs or what, but I know that it's really ridiculous. What I would want is I'd want people to bear with me. If I was elected, if I was running and I was elected for president, I would go in there like Obama did with healthcare right now. The way I feel right at this moment, this week anyways, I would go in there if I had a fresh start and I was a fresh president and I had something to go boldly knock on the halls of Congress's door and bust through there and tell them what I wanted real quick. Just tell them, because I'm not coming from a king authority. I'm coming with somebody with persuasion. So I have to persuade these people to feel what I'm saying. So right at this point, I would want people to feel, you know, how maybe even kind of guilty you could be for forcing such a law like that. As long as Um, I don't know what to tell people about them with their kids either because alcohol is all right. I'd like to start with the point of just saying, asking people, being, if somebody comes out and they tell you they want to make a law, what's the difference between that and somebody, instead of somebody making a law, somebody just coming out and telling you what they want, and just being like your dad, because you wouldn't disobey your dad, especially if it's something that you know is right and you feel like doing it. You don't, you're at a point where you don't feel like backing away from it. You're feel like you weren't involved with what they're talking about. So where I would start. Um, and I would just, try and play it cool the best that I could, but I definitely go for trying to legalize marijuana, and that's all I have to say. And I'm gonna go. I don't see no viewers at this point, so I gotta take off here in a little bit, and I just wanted to say that it's not gonna solve all of our problems, but if we start being honest with each other and we give each other more of a chance instead of being down each other's throats. Some people will still be like that, and I don't know if they're bitter people, what their problem is exactly, but nobody wants to be down, and nobody wants to not be able to not do what they want to do. So it's not fair if certain people can do that or not, but you have to make um, the capitalism or whatever we have here work for us the best that we can by being honest and not being allowing to have people who are going to create problems like the housing bubble. I explained that too on one of these videos that I made here, the housing bubble. So it's a Ponzi scheme, and I see a crime there. So I don't know why they want to just try to band-aid or doctor the banks up with that instead of going back to the people who ripped everybody off. So, and they're gonna have money that they stole from everybody in Swiss banks. So you would have to come up with some common ground with the Swiss and other people. Say like instead of um, just taking the money out and leaving with the money from Switzerland or wherever they have their money, you work out a deal with these people, and whenever you seize the people's assets, you don't transfer the money. Maybe you keep some of it or all of it. Work out some kind of a deal where it's the people's money, and they invest it, and they can really pull it out, draw it out all anytime that they want. But you'd have to try to come up with some kind of deal with everybody to keep the money there, maybe, but just put it back in the right people's names or something. I don't know exactly how that works. Maybe do that for a certain period of time, like 5 years. Um, then that way the bank can do whatever they need to do, whatever they plan to do, to whatever they're earning money. They got 5 years to do that, play with it. But there's a lot of honest, very transparent ideas and things that are apparent to dropping inflation. So people keep like sideboning uh this economy thing. They say economy, and that's not even what I'm even trying to to describe or preach. I'm trying to preach inflation drop, and to be honest with people, and not to screw people over. So I don't understand how, if Mr. Bill Clinton didn't, because he's got like over $600 million or something like that. So the guy's almost in the billionaire club. He should have been by now, right? Well, all I want to know is if he didn't have some kind of scheme too, and that it sounds like he became the president just so he could get away with crafty stuff like that. Then he became president, and now he put a bunch of money in his pocket. So what is Obama gonna gain from doing that to the healthcare? You know, and if I became the president or anybody else became the president, what are they gonna gain off of it? I just want like my own shop, like have my own quality marijuana that I grew my own self, all legally. I can have different places where I would grow it in particular. Then I would import it to my shop or my shops or whatever, and then I would just compete with a lot of the money that I make. If I became president or something like that, I would roll the money. I'd roll the dice because I've always been. My father is he got a bachelor's degree in business, and he was a Marine my whole life. So when he was being strict or whatever, I was always kind of sideswiped and knocked off guard, at times with Marine sensibility and then also business wise sense was also presented to me as I was growing up as a youngster. So I would invest the money or whatever I could, but it sounds like something promising, but I wouldn't take anything away from anybody who has a small business, and I wouldn't overtax people. And for people to come in and preach or try to defend Obama at any point, I don't care if it was 2 3 years ago or now on this tax thing. I don't care what you say. Taxing people is ridiculous. We've been overtaxed to the point where you understand it's about would be about 80% of our money gets taxed. If you work, you get taxed by the federal government, state. Then you go and buy a car or anything we're going to spend that money on. Then we get taxed on it again. Then when we put our money in a bank or we put it somewhere else, then we're going to be taxed again. So now we're being taxed for health insurance. And all I can say is I've always known it was gonna break everybody. It was gonna break the bank, and people want to still act arrogant about this Obama thing and defend him and this ridiculous taxing people is necessary jumbo. While I don't know what they do with their money, but I know that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were slick. They're both slick, Willie, both of them. And up to this point, they have slid and been able to take taxpayers' money and keep it for themselves, not have to pay for their own houses and stuff. So they bring their Secret Service in, then they charge the government, the Secret Service that's going to protect them, they charge them instead of being hospitable to your Secret Service agents and just giving them whatever they need, a facility of their own or whatever the people need for doing that for you. They go and they charge our government the amount of money that it costs for their property mortgage on their house in New York. Their uptown house in New York, I believe is what it is. I could be wrong, but I know that they do that for a fact. That locations that they that they have in New York. So they they're not straight up people. They're dirty. And I'm sick of people trying to argue that. So I want to. People were talking about a fair, even tax, and I don't know about a fair, even tax. I was hoping that there is a way how you can, because right now, people pay, like conservative people like me, um, would necessarily, the majority of the people that are conservative would. I'm not saying necessarily I do it. I don't make very whole lot of money, but what I do make, I can tell you is already taxed at 50% of what I should be receiving. Um, as far as like, it's if it was like your retirement or something like that, you pay into it or somebody else paid into it, like Social Security, the government takes half of that. And they almost have it to where they've borrowed from Social Security as it is, to where they literally destroyed Social Security as it is. It pays an extreme amount of people out every single month. People get paid on Social Security. So in retirements and whatever else. So I was wondering how you get to the point where you can have everybody be self-sufficient and they don't need the government and they can save the money on their own. I'm just wondering, I want this explained how I explain things, or try to, in layman's terms, so everybody understands what you're saying. You're not talking mumbo jumbo to people. So I want to know how that's going to pay that, and how I'm going to pay for the military. Because I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to tell you that the military isn't needed, and that we don't need to take care of our troops and provide them essentially whatever it is that they need. You know, when the government shortchanged them on men, ammunition, or anything like that, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. Just like the border issue would too, and this marijuana thing. I was thinking that there was a way that you could um, do other drugs pharmaceutically, possibly with aid of science and doctors in particular, or they could maybe make medical crack. They make medical heroin for people that take that. So I don't know. Just as long as people don't violate the law, and the law should be simple. It should be like, don't get this into the hands of children, and real common sense. But the more you get the government telling you to do anything and everything, the more they're saying that you don't have any common sense. You're lacking the common sense that it takes for you to go get a job, or for you to man your own retirement, and everything else that you need without their help. So, what would you need the government help for? You know, I don't know. I don't need them to help. Help tax me, because the more that they help me be taxed by them, the more it seems so apparent that they're helping themselves out the whole entire time as it goes along. So it's self-defeating. We've been voting for people for way too long that put all of our priorities in us and our futures and everything for their own purposes and their own gains, and it's really ridiculous. And if people want to smoke their life away, go right on ahead. But I definitely don't want to see people on the street. And this poor shit, people living on the street is insane. It's insanity. Give them a place where the police, make the police do it. Tell the police, these people smoke crack. Tell them, we're going to put you up over here. We're going to come and check your shit or whatever government has to do with people that need to be checked, that have to have an authority figure over them come in and make sure that they're cleaning themselves or that they're not tearing the place up or whatever. But they don't need to be on the street, and we don't need to be barbarians, okay, and just ignore their needs as human beings and individuals, and to be able to help everybody grow, everybody be able to reach their own potential. Whatever people want in particular, they should be able to have the dots where they can jump whatever or connect themselves to until they reach their main goals. And everybody had that. And I don't know why they make it so difficult now whenever up to this point. It should have been damn easy for people to be able to reach for the stars and do whatever the hell they want. If they smoke marijuana, and that helps them out. There's people on so many other kinds of drugs. Limit them to riding a bicycle. Or if they drive okay, just let them drive as long as they don't get in an accident. Or as long as they're not driving crazy. I'm saying when people smoke and drive, because in my opinion, I don't unless somebody really can't handle it, and it's like I said, it's like any other drug. So it'd be like taking a prescription from a doctor or something that they have you on, and you have to drive somewhere. But I believe that marijuana works like a medication like that. But we're getting people scattered out from having to self-medicate, the laws enforcing all these different rules, and they act like they all hate each other and we're down each other's throats. But up to this point, we should have been able to have limited the police itself too, and not had to have a cop for every 10 people or something like that, or more police. And when the military or police people also, because they're also our brothers and sisters too here, if they lose their job, there needs to be plentiful other places that they could go. They could go be a security guy, or they could run their own business, anything. So I think up to this point, they just really, it's kind of evil, and they make it um, harder for people than it needs to be. And they put a lot of obstacles, it seems, in front of people. What do people really do want to go to school? But it is to better their own self. They don't want to take advantage of something at the time just to be there, or just to take money or advantage of the situation. But they honestly want to improve their life, and I think it's ridiculous telling people that do different drugs, unless they totally blow it, and that would be like they steal for their drugs, and stuff like that. Then I don't know how to rehabilitate people in particular that steal. A person who has stolen or knows how to do that would really have to come to a conclusion themselves, within themselves, to be able to keep their own self from doing that. That's really all that I know about that. I don't know about reforming people and sending them to any kind of thing, other than them having jails and prisons for people who get caught doing stuff. Um, I don't know how you're supposed to rehabilitate people besides them being very strong willed and being above that themselves in their minds to themselves first and foremost. Nobody can make you do anything. Only you really have the power to do what you do. So I'm gonna leave it with that. I really need to get ready and get going. I just wanted to say the next president has to legalize weed. If you don't, we're gonna continue this ad or video. We're gonna continue it further on down the road until we get what we know is right and lower inflation. Peace.